Hi guys, you don't normally get an intro for a cup video, but in this case, this video is sponsored by a newer water slide on the market, the Hiipoo brand water slide. I'll show you the package. I gotta set that out of the way so I don't get it wet. This is the package it comes in. It comes in a 20 pack. I think it was like $13 or $13.99 on Amazon. They sent me this package to try out for a review. So this is going to be a completely honest review. I am not going to lie though. I actually already did a full wrap tumbler using this. And it was a dream for that tumbler. That video is probably actually going to air before this one. So, Hiipoo brand water slide. Inkjet clear, 20 sheets. Size it, print it like normal, seal it. I sealed mine 4 times, all different directions around with Rust-Oleum 2 times matte clear. And like I said, on the full wrap, it worked fantastic. I'm doing a darker cup, so I actually printed 2 just in case I have to layer them on this one. And I am going to apply this like a standard water slide where I pull the paper from the bottom. But this is the image I'm going to put on my cup. It's printed, it is sealed now, and it is ready to go. So, we're going to get on with the cup. Hi guys, it's Ray with Ray's Turquoise Turtle. Today I am going to start a partial wrap tumbler. It's going to be wrapped at the bottom, glitter at the top. And it's going to be an experiment. This is a 20 ounce thick from Makerflow, and it actually fits perfectly on this. So I don't have to trim it down or anything. But this is actually a piece of Main Street Wall Creations wallpaper. Peel and stick removable, fashionable, blah, blah, blah. From the Dollar Tree. In this cute little like herringbone wood grain pattern. So I'm going to experiment again with Dollar Tree products and see how it'll work out on a tumbler. Dollar Tree's gotten like a lot of really cute stuff in lately, so I'm kind of seeing what might work for a tumbler. And then the top part, I'm going to use this LMNOP Design Boutique Tiffany's Fine Glitter. So first things first, I'm going to decide about how much, about how much of the tumbler I want to use the vinyl on. So, this is a little over 7 inches tall, and I don't want quite half. So I'm thinking about doing 3.5. Yeah, 3 3/4 is what I'm going to do for the vinyl wrap part. So I'm going to scoot that out of the way a second. And I have already cut, you can't really see it, but it's here. I already cut a circle for the bottom. So I'm going to cut from this end. And I always forget that this particular paper cutter doesn't quite go to the 3, so I'm actually just going to cut it to the edge there. So I'm going to scoot that out of the way a minute. And actually I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to cut that a little bit longer because I forgot I need to actually go over the bottom a little bit. So I'm actually going to cut it at about somewhere between 4 and 4.5. All right, that should work better. It's early. I've only had 1 cup of coffee, so excuse me. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started and see how my placement ends up. If I can get the backing paper started. Good, it comes off in strips. Alright. So, and this is pretty thick, so it's not going to be as flexible as I might like. I'm just going to lay it down and then wrap it to see if I'm even remotely straight. And that might be alright, so I'm going to peel the backing and smooth as I go. And somehow I'm miles off. But being that it's removable, it'll come up pretty easily. Okay, I feel like that is better. I don't want that folded under yet. There we go. An almost perfect fit. So this isn't going to stretch as nicely as regular vinyl. I just know it's not. So what I'm going to do is cut some slits around the bottom. Move this out of my way. I'm not going to cut them all the way to the end. I'm just going to that'll give me a little bit more play. And then I'm just going to start folding sections down. And again, this is going to be a little bit creased because this is so super thick. An alternative, because this is so thick, would be to do your vinyl and then use your same glitter to coat the bottom. I am past that point on this, and again, this one was strictly experimental to see if this product would even work. So I am going to roll with it. One of those, learn from my mistakes, possibly. because as you guys know, I am very much about learn from my mistakes. So I'm going to peel this circle from the backing. And I'm going to place it somewhere towards the center of the bottom. So there's the vinyl part. I'm going to run some tape around this real quick because I only want to glitter the top half. So what I'm going to do is just, and I'm not doing a triple split on this, just a 2 portion. So I'm just going to, right at the edge of that, just run some painter's tape. I did test it. It will come off easily, so I'm not worried about it sticking too hard. I'm going to fold down my little tail and make sure it is sealed really well. And I'm going to get some resin mixed up and I will be right back. Alright, I don't know what happened to my video. I don't know if I lost that, but love when technology fails. What I did was I put a super thin coat of resin on from my tape line down, and I started to glitter. This is Tiffany's from LMNOP Design Boutique, and I am just glittering the top portion of the cup with this. So that's where I'm at. And I used KS Resin Liquidy Split for my resin base, so this should dry fairly quickly and be ready for a flood coat. I am probably going to spray seal it though, just because I don't really want any glitter traveling onto the wood grain part in this case. So that is fully glittered. I did base coat this cup with sea glass spray paint, I believe from Krylon. So, and you can see that used very, very little glitter. And I am going to let this hang dry on my rack. So I am going to immediately remove this tape because there's no chance of it working down over that line. So I'm going to go stick it on the drying rack for a couple hours and then I'll be ready for the next step. Okay, I am ready to get a coat of resin on this. I did seal it. I used the Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Ultra Cover Matte Clear. I did do the entire cup over the vinyl and everything. I do have some resin mixed up, and let's see how this goes. I probably don't have enough resin mixed up, but I'm going to see if I can get a solid coat on the glitter at the very least. I was hoping to have enough, but I just recoated 2 other cups down the line, so I may not quite have enough left to do as thick a coat on this as I would like, but if that's the case, I will just come in and give it one more coat before I get to decal. Not the end of the world. I don't typically seal my vinyls, but because this was a different type of product to work with, I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to lift or anything. So, and I expected that if it was going to lift, it would have lifted with the spray adhesive, and it didn't seem to, so we're going to run with it. And I will probably get one more coat on this at some point here. And then I will be on to the decal step. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a sponsored video, and I will be using the Hiipoo Clear water slide for this. So it will be getting some kind of treatment. And I am picking up a tiny bit of glitter, but I'm alright with that. It's probably the stuff that's like inside the lip because I'm going over the edge. But it's only creating a tiny bit of sparkle over the wood look, so not a big deal. So I'm going to get one more layer on this, and then I will be back for the next step, which is how I'm going to make the spot for the decal to go. Alright, my water slide is all sealed and printed, or printed, sealed, ready to go. I showed you in the intro what I was using. So now this is clear and it's going on a fairly dark surface, but after you seal your water slide, before I go on here, you need to trim around it because you do kind of seal the edge of your water slide to the backer, and if you don't, you're going to have a hard time getting it to release. So whether you're doing it as a print and cut on your machine or just hand cutting it, definitely don't cut it prior to sealing. And I'm going to cut the second one just in case I need to layer these. I did do two because I'm going over a darker image with a clear water slide. I may have to layer these, so I do have a second one ready to go just in case. And I am going to apply this like a standard water slide. I didn't mirror it, I'm not going to reverse it, but I'm going to drop my water slide in my pan of paper. My paper has my water has cooled off, so it may take slightly longer to release. This is the front line of the cup exactly, so I'm going to get my cup wet. That is important when working with a water slide. So I'm going to check and see if it's ready to release or not without forcing it too much. And I do believe it's ready. So I actually want it to start somewhere over here. So I'm going to kind of hold the image down and draw the paper out from underneath. And that is going to be relatively dark, but I didn't want to do an ink blot on this like I do a lot of the time. So I'm going to look at this up closer just real quick. I'm just checking for any bumps or any wrinkles or anything, because if I am going to add a second layer, I do need to be certain that I'm not going over any kind of wrinkles. So I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm trying not to stretch the image either. So just kind of working from the center out. I kind of like it muted, so I'm kind of torn about whether to put the second slide on top or not, but I think I'm going to, just because I did print too, so I might as well try and complicate things for myself just a tiny bit more. So I'm actually going to let this just sit on top a second to keep that damp while this other slide gets ready to release. The most important part of this for me is going to be getting my lettering lined up evenly. It's almost ready. So I'm going to actually drizzle a little bit and don't fold on me now. See, I'm trying to get those letters lined up perfectly. Once I get the letters lined up, I can kind of wiggle everything else into place. Okay. I am not quite there. There, I think my F is good and lined up at that point. It's almost hard to tell which is the top layer and which is the bottom layer. All right. So there's my fall word almost perfectly lined up. I'm going to get this wet again. I feel like this side is lined up pretty well. But I feel like this side is slightly off as far as that bracket underneath went. And I'm just kind of wiping it down, keeping it moist. Just to keep it somewhat movable for the moment. So I think my sunflower is pretty well lined up at this point. My A is pretty good. Okay. So now I'm going to work out any bubbles all the way around. And this will also push any remaining water out from underneath, especially now that it's 2 layers thick. And I may have the tiniest bit of shadowing in a couple of places, but honestly, I'm not terribly concerned. And that may also cause my edge to show a tiny bit more, but you can see how much more vibrant it is with the second round in there. So, all things considered, that went pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with this paper. I didn't rip either one. Definitely has a good long working time as long as you keep it wet. It's sealed nicely. And I think it looks nice in general. So there's my cute, I'm going to get some resin on this when it dries, but this was that wood grain herringbone pattern wallpaper from Dollar Tree, and this is my test piece for my Hiipoo brand water slide, and I think it was great to work with. So I'm going to let this dry and come back in and get the resin on it. Okay, I am ready to get another coat of resin on this. Well, the first coat over the water slide, I should say. So, if too much of the water slide is showing, which actually I think it's just going to completely disappear, so beautiful. I was going to say I'd come back in with a cheat glitter, but I can already see that is going to be 100% unnecessary, so wonderful. That's another good thing. It should mostly just disappear because it is over resin, so. I do have some sharp edges left on the bottom of this cup, so it is going to get at least one more coat, but for all intents and purposes, this is a complete tumbler for your eyes. You don't need to see me do final coats. And I don't want to sand, so it's probably still going to be a little sharp at the bottom. Not sharp, but have some texture, just because this was so thick, this wallpaper. I should have just done a bottom wrap and then left the bottom the blue spray paint. So if I were to use this again, which I actually really love the look, I would just leave the bottom and just do the wrap. And I'm not going to do a stripe around the middle or anything because I like the blue against the wood grain, so this one's not getting any kind of stripe work. I am going to get my glove off and torch this real quick, and then I will bring you down for a close-up so you can see that water slide again. I just want to get my hand wiped off real quick. So, super quick torch. As you know, I tell you all the time, keep the torch moving. Don't hold it in one place. Don't hold it too close. I don't really think there were that many bubbles in this anyway, so that should be good. So I'm going to swing this around and then bring you down. And try not to get my fingers in the way. Isn't that glitter gorgeous? But, I mean, if you look from the right angle, you can see the slightest edge of the water slide, but not enough to be concerned with at all. There's that back seam, close to perfect. You can see a slight shadow on the letter A, but I don't mind it. I think this cup is adorable, perfect for fall. So, that's it, another finished product.